No, can't make it up. Hey everybody, happy Tuesday again. Today is February 27th. We are on episode 128. Michael Goodman is already on, so thank you. Of the TED Show, and I have my friend Michael Goodman on here. He let us know you can hear us and see us. I'm very excited to talk to him because I think he's got some great insights, and I'm dying to hear some of the history that I don't know. That's why you guys know Hap's on. So Hap, you were just on, so let us know you can hear us and see us. I think I've got the mic on. We're golden. So welcome, my friend. We got a whole bunch of people watching.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
So you and I have been trying. It's funny. So this is all about communication in 2018, 2017. You sent a text. I responded. You didn't realize I responded, and I think you thought, what a jerk. You must have thought that. Like, what an idiot. Is he that? He thinks he's that highfalutin that he's not going to respond to my text? I know that's not what you thought.
I get that all the time.
No, you should not get that all the time. I feel bad. And so it's like, oh no, I swear to God, I text you. But that's what happens. We get so crazy busy, and we don't check the things we should, or we don't pay attention to the things we should. I do it all the time. I had somebody today tell me that they messaged me, and sure enough, they did, and I messed up. So anyway, I'm glad it all worked out. We met through our friend Tracy Stein.
Right.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I'm very happy to have you. All right, so give them a little bit of background about you. Hey, Ida, how are you? She's on. See, I do the show at 1 o'clock. That's why I can't meet at 1 o'clock on the 8th. So you'll let me know when we can meet. Give them a little background on you.
Yeah, so I have been an entrepreneur since the age of 21. I lovingly refer to that as the era when I still knew everything.
We gave up on that, didn't we?
So I started a career in real estate at that age and started buying properties back then, and moved to Florida when I was 26 years old. And
where were you before?
So we were in the Lansing, Michigan area.
Oh, that's right. You're in Michigan.
And I say we because my high school sweetheart, now my wife of almost 28 years,
wow,
and I. So yeah, we moved.
That's pretty big. 28. We were talking about earlier. 28 years, but mine's college sweetheart. There's not a lot of high school sweethearts that are still together. That's a blessing.
Well, you have what, 27 years?
I have 27 years.
So we're both messing up the national average.
We are messing up. Ida says, "Go blue." That must be a Michigan.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. Michigan just seems like a very wonderfully quiet place. I'm not talking Detroit, I'm just talking about in general. All right, so you were up there, but what did you do? What did you grow up in? Did you go to school to be what you are? We were talking about that. What was the reason that you came down here?
Yeah, so the reason primarily was because we wanted to move to a warmer climate. And we thought that it was a great time to do that. We didn't have any children at the time, and looked at the real estate markets around the country and saw that Las Vegas, Nevada and Orlando, Florida were the two hottest markets back in the mid-90s. And so I thought I might go broke in Vegas, so we chose Orlando.
No doubt. Yeah, Vegas has a whole bunch of other temptations there that probably aren't good. But yeah, their market has always been amazing. So you came here. And
so
then,
we came here.
But did you have experience in real estate at all? Did you grow up in a real estate family?
No.
Or did you just say, how did you one day wake up and go, I want to be a real estate investor, I want to be a real estate person?
It was really about being a young man watching all these get-rich-quick ideas on late night television.
That's right, they used to have I forgot about that. That's how we used to get our information before the internet.
And through...
We used to have to watch those shows.
Exactly, and through more research, just found that most of the successful or wealthy people in the world did it through real estate, and back then that was very important to me. Not as much these days, but back then it was. And so I wanted to invest in real estate, and I thought that getting my real estate license, of course, was kind of
that's important.
In to some great deals.
So did you own were you a big landlord? Did you own 80 houses?
No, I didn't.
What was your whole structure of how you decided to do that?
Yeah, so I came in under a broker that was very young. He was 30 years old, and I just really admired him and what he was doing. He was buying up a lot of properties, but then he moved to Florida. He didn't move to Orlando, but he moved to Jacksonville, and I thought, my wife and I had talked about doing something like that, and because of our young age at that time, it was a great opportunity for us to go ahead and make that leap. And so we sold off our properties and moved to Orlando, and within 6 months I purchased my first real estate franchise.
Oh, that's right. So what franchise did you purchase?
So it was Century 21, and I ended up with 3 real estate companies and ran those, operated those for 13 years, and then sold them off. And along that journey, I had met some great people, and one of my biggest mentors was a national real estate sales speaker, Floyd Wickman. And Floyd is a great entrepreneur. He's been a 2-time Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year finalist, and
wow.
It was in New Orleans at a convention that he introduced me to his son Gino, and Gino and I just hit it off. He was 26, I was 26, and he was running Floyd Wickman courses at that time and as the CEO, and he just they both just kind of took me under their wings, and Gino, fast forward several years, invited me to help him share his creation, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System.
That's right. So that has a short name for us. So say the long name again, and then give us the abbreviation.
Yeah, so the long name is Entrepreneurial Operating System, and the abbreviated is EOS. And EOS is taking the world by storm. There are just thousands of companies now using EOS, operating on EOS, and so it's become very, very successful. There are now, I was in Gino's first group 10 years ago that he taught himself, and now of course he has coaches teaching new implementers, but now there are over 150 implementers around the world.
So talk about that. So you've got the operating system, so EOS. But everybody says that they're an entrepreneur, right? We all talk about being an entrepreneur. That's what we all want. We want an entrepreneurial spirit. So as a franchise owner, you obviously had that, because real estate in and of itself really kind of creates entrepreneurs. You're on your own as a realtor. You've got the support of a big company, but you still have to kind of go out and dig your own, pave your own way in the world. So what was it about that particular system that was attractive to you? Because it's a mouthful, but I think a lot of people go, I'm an entrepreneur, or I want to be, and there is no system in place. So what you're talking about, which I had not heard about until I met you, that is something that people might be able to sink their teeth into, and that's sort of what you're doing. That's what you're trying to teach people on how to do that, correct?
Yeah, what I do is I teach them the tools. Gino has been on this quest for 25 years probably now, to figure out what he calls the science of business. And he's worked with and learned from some of the great business leaders and authors of our time. Jim Collins, Pat Lencioni, Stephen Covey, Dan Sullivan, Vern Harnish, Michael Gerber, just to name a handful. And it's through their collective wisdom in about 10 years of trial and error and tweaking and fine-tuning that he was able to develop the Entrepreneurial Operating System and work with a couple hundred of clients himself through those 10 years. So
how does the system work? So if I come to you and I go, hey, Michael, I want to be involved. I want to do something. I've got an idea. I think I've got a great business, or perhaps I've got a great business already and I need help. I want to develop it. So who's a client that comes to you? Because people will ask me later, okay, well, I've got an idea, Ted. Am I a good person to reach out to Michael? And what is EOS going to do for me?
Yeah, so our clients are beyond the startup. Most of our clients do between 2 and 50 million and have between 10 and 250 employees. So it's beyond the startup. Although this system works with the mom and pop shop to the billion-dollar company, we just find that it's easier to turn a smaller ship. So 2 to 50 million, 10 to 250 employees is kind of our sweet spot, so to speak. And that isn't to say that I don't like helping startups.
He's not saying that. What I want somebody, but if you've got some, so you would prefer the way that the system is most impactful is if you've got somebody who's they've got a business, 2 to 50 million, right? 2 to 50
That's
million.
correct. Yes.
And so if you've got a $2 million business, and that's, people also get all caught up in that. That doesn't mean that you have $2 million in your pocket.
No, it doesn't.
That means that you have a $2 million business on paper. So if you have some sort of business and you're semi-successful and you're looking for growth, or you're experiencing some kind of maybe some sort of stop point, and you want to figure out how to move it to the next level, then somebody would come to you, because you're basically going in there and you're helping them fine-tune what they have and maybe giving them more tools, I imagine.
Yeah, helping them to implement some very simple, practical tools that'll take them to the next level. There was a study done in the 60s called The Evolution and Revolution of Business, and what they had discovered was that no business grows in this perfect straight line. They go through evolutionary periods and revolutionary periods. Evolution and revolution. It's in those revolutionary periods that a company is hitting the ceiling. And one of three things happens when a company hits the ceiling. They either go out of business, which is evident by the statistics. You probably know more than half of new businesses are out of business in the first 5 years.
Right.
So they either go out of business, they flatline, where they just have this feeling of being stuck. That's hitting the ceiling. They don't understand why they're not taking the organization to a higher level. Or else there's those choice few that are able to break through the ceiling and take it to another level. And so that's what we're doing, is we're helping those that are stuck take their organizations to a higher level. And they're great companies, or really good companies, and through EOS we're able to help them become great.
So how does the, like, you can give us an overview if you don't mind. So somebody comes and they say, all right, Michael, I've got this, and you realize that they actually are potentially could benefit from EOS.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first step? Do you go in and dismantle what they have? Do you go in and evaluate all their systems? Or do you go in and teach? Or is it on all of the above kind of scenario? What does it look like when you've got a client that's coming to you and they are ready to break through?
Yeah, so normally they know they need something because they have this feeling of being stuck. They're scratching their head or banging it against the wall.
Right.
So they're just not growing like they once were, and so they know that there's something missing, there's something wrong. And so the tools and disciplines that we teach will help you strengthen the 6 key components of your organization. Every organization, large or small, any industry, has 6 and only 6 key components. And to the degree that you can strengthen those, you truly have a great organization. And so what we do is help you, take you through a process to implement the tools and disciplines that will strengthen those 6 key components and take your organization to a higher level.
So what I'm guessing is that the audience is going, all right, so I don't want to be dumb and I don't want to ask the question, but what are the 6 key components?
Oh, well, glad you asked.
Glad I asked. Oh, I forgot. Havana White showed up. Somebody actually questioned. You can see it. It says Steve Martin. You must have that's the gray hair. I love it. John, leave it to John Wild to ask that question.
Yeah. So real quick, I'll just explain that the 6 key components are the vision component, and I don't know if you can see this very well, but I'll give you a little.
You can look right here and see what they're seeing.
Okay.
And we're going to share this later afterwards.
So you've got the vision component, and that's just getting your leadership team all crystal clear on what the vision is for the organization and how you're going to get there.
Let me ask you about that, because
Sure.
most people don't know what their vision is. They have absolutely no idea. They've got an idea, maybe just a little bit, but they haven't sketched it out. Most business owners haven't really written that out in clear form. So if you're a business owner and you think that you should be doing better and you don't even know your own vision, how are your employees, how are the people you're working with, your partners, going to have any idea what your vision is if you can't articulate it?
Well, I'm going to move on to a different visual.
We didn't plan this, I swear. Look, Tracy Stein just got on.
Oh, hey, Tracy. Just to answer that question, though, this tool kind of flies in the face of the 100-page strategic plan, where you sometimes are led to spend days and thousands of dollars putting that document together. More times than not, it ends up in the top drawer of a file cabinet somewhere, never to be seen again. But there's usually some great work done in that document, and almost always 8 questions that have been answered. Those 8 questions are the 8 sections in this 2-page document called the Vision Traction Organizer. And so we take leadership teams through specific exercises to help them all get crystal clear and on the same page with the answers to these 8 questions.
Because how can you move your company forward if you don't know your vision and if nobody understands what direction you're trying to take? Because I think a lot of business owners, they get to this point, they've made some money, but they know they could make more. They've got these expense challenges, they've got these market challenges, and then they don't know what to do, but they don't understand why they can't move forward. Well, you can't move forward if you don't know what you're moving forward for or to or with. Like there's all of these components, and it's at that point that you guys come in, which I love the concept.
Yeah, and
really try to help them.
We find that it's not that they don't have visions for the organization, they don't have the same vision. And so
Correct.
It's important to get the leaders all crystal clear and focused in one direction, get them all rowing in the same direction, instead of some rowing this way, some rowing that way, and some not rowing.
All right, so that was number 1. I'm sorry, I got us off on a tangent. So
That's
there's
good.
6. So what was the second one?
So the second one is the people component, and simply stated, you can't achieve a great vision without great people, without the right people in your organization. So,
I think that's key, the right people.
yeah, so we boil it down to the right people in the right seats. And that's what that component is all about. And again, we go through exercises to help them get the right people in the right seats.
So is there fear and trepidation from the people that you're doing this with when you come in, especially that number 2, it's like maybe you're not in the right seat. And I believe people actually know they're not in the right seat, but they continue on for whatever reason. And so does that create fear? How do you handle that when you're going into a company and kind of addressing that?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons that we are so successful in implementing these tools, and our companies, I should say, are so successful after implementing these tools, is because we enter the danger. You've got to go there.
You do.
And so it's about the right people in the right seats. And what normally happens is sometimes we find that we've got somebody that's absolutely great for the organization. They're the right person, meaning they perpetuate the core values in the organization, because that's what right person means, is that they all fit like a glove in the organization in terms of the core values. And sometimes you've got that right person, but they're in the wrong seat. Seats too big, seats too little, whatever it is. They're just not right for that seat, and so it's our job to either find them a seat in the organization, or you've got a tough people choice to make.
That must be difficult.
It can be difficult. Obviously, it's never fun. It doesn't mean anybody is a bad person. It just means that they're not necessarily right for the organization.
Absolutely. Listen, you can't break through the ceiling, which is what Mike's talking about, if you're staying inside those 9 dots in that comfort zone. You have to really be able to evaluate it. And if you're going to use EOS, then that's part of the process. Nobody said the process is painless, I guess is what people are so afraid of, because it challenges. They've got this, they want the help. I imagine this is what happens. They want the help, but then when you come in and give the help, it's a challenge to everything they've built. It's their baby. And then you have to figure out a way to kind of, with kid gloves, go, all right, you're going to have to think like it's not your baby anymore. We're here to help you. You obviously know that you need to make a change, so let us do what we do best.
It's all about fighting for the greater good of the organization.
I love that.
And sometimes you just have tough people choices to make.
So number 3.
It's not always.
I got you off. I keep getting you off tangent.
It's
off
all right.
topic.
So number 3 is the data component, and data is just getting the leadership teams to start managing measurables opposed to objectives like personalities or opinions or egos. So we get you to manage data, measurables.
So data is not those 3 things you just mentioned. This is just real, raw data about what's going on in your business. This isn't personalities. This isn't any of that. So this is just looking at it, and you're looking at it subjectively.
Subjectively, I misspoke.
No, I'm thinking out loud. I have trouble with that sometimes. You're looking at it just at the data, as if you'd look at an Excel spreadsheet or any kind of report, and just at the data that's in front of you, not letting all the personalities and everything else around you get involved in the decision-making process. organization.
Yeah, and once the data is clear, the people are in place, or excuse me, the vision is clear, the people are in place, and you're managing data, you create a lucid, transparent organization where there's just nowhere to hide, and it smokes out all of your issues, which takes us to the fourth key component, the issues component.
The issues, that must be interesting, the issues component.
It's just getting really good at solving your problems, setting them up, knocking them down, and making them go away forever.
Because people have a hard time admitting there's a problem, right? Even if you present it to them, once again, it's back to this is my baby thing, this is my project, I built this from scratch, I can't even imagine the conversations. And so you're actually discussing the things that they know in their heart that are happening, which is why they came to you in the first place. But you're actually putting it out in front of them and saying, all right, here's the problem, let's try to fix it.
Well, when we go through this process, we're smoking out issues along the way, and then we just teach them how to solve them, get really good at solving them, because oftentimes you're in your board meetings or your executive meeting, and there's a lot of discussion going on, but rarely is there anything being truly identified as the real issue, and rarely is there anything being solved. But
so true.
They feel like they're having a great meeting because there's a lot of talking going on.
Isn't that like every pet peeve, by the way? Every single meeting I'm in, I think that at least once. It's so, I'm talking about not one-on-ones, but if I'm in a board meeting or a membership meeting or any kind of meeting where there's 3 or 4 or 5 more people, I always think, God, what are we doing here? Are we really being productive and impactful and efficient with our time? And so I always joke that board meeting is a double entendre, really, because you're bored out of your mind at a board meeting most of the time. And that's because they don't really accomplish much in general.
Right. And so we just teach them an issue-solving track where you identify what the real issue is, because sometimes what's on the issues list is a symptom of a deeper issue.
Sure.
So we sometimes have to dig to get to what the real issue is. And then once we have that identified, we discuss it once, go around the room, and everyone says what they have to say about that issue. More than once, you're politicking.
Right? I love that. Say it once. That's all you need to do. There's no convincing here.
So it becomes redundant.
It is.
And then you move to solve it, and it ends up as a 7-day action item for someone's to-do list, and that issue is gone forever.
Right.
And so we teach leadership teams to get really, really good at solving their issues.
All right, so what are we at, 5?
So the 5th is the process component. And process component is kind of a secret ingredient in business, because to the degree you can nail down your major processes in your organization and get them followed by all, you create consistency. And with consistency comes scalability, ease of management. It becomes more peaceful, more profitable, ultimately more fun.
Because people like structure. They say they don't in general, but when there are knowns and there's some sort of structure. I'm not talking about where you're rigid, but when you're talking about processes in place, people really do thrive in that kind of environment when they kind of know what everybody's supposed to be doing, what we're all working toward. That's so important, I think. I think when I've done consulting, one of the biggest things on the business side is when nobody knows anything about what anyone's doing, and so they spend so much of their time worrying about what the other people are doing instead of being focused on their own job or their own task at hand. And a lot of times they don't even know what that is because it hasn't been defined for them.
Right.
Because there's no process in place.
So that's really just systemizing your business and getting it followed by all. That's when the real magic happens, is when you get it followed by all. And we take an entrepreneurial approach to systemizing your business, to your documenting your processes. No 500-page SOP manual, please. So
No doubt.
The 20-80 rule applies, which states that you document the 20% that'll get you 80% compliance.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, and then what's the last one? So 6.
So number 6.
Lucky 6.
And just as important as the rest is the traction component. It's no coincidence that vision is at the top and traction is at the bottom, because traction is bringing that vision down to the ground and executing directly onto that vision, bringing more accountability and discipline into the organization, gaining traction on that vision.
So you can do all 5, and yet if you don't do 6, you're stuck back at number 1, really. And that's really what, I think that's what happens. I think a lot of people like to talk in the ethereal, and they like to have meetings, and then have all these discussions. And what you're trying to do is really streamline that. But if they don't do number 6, 1 through 5 can't be implemented. It's kind of like an implementation stage where you're actually seeing what's happening, and you're actually putting into play all of the things that you've just developed in steps 1 through 5.
Yeah, Gino's got a great quote. He says, "Vision without traction is hallucination."
I like that. Maybe that's what's going on today. I don't know what's happening on this Tuesday. No, I think a lot of businesses really want the help that you offer, but they're afraid for a lot of different reasons. And I think that what you've done is simplified it. I love that. It's not simple. Don't take that wrong. It doesn't mean that it's. See, we get phone calls. I don't know who these people are. It doesn't mean that it's not hard work. It means that there is actually a step-by-step process that Mike and EOS are helping you create, and you can go through the motions with it and really do. You want to break through, because I think a lot of businesses are here. I feel like there's a lot of stagnation with a lot of businesses and business owners, and they know they need to break through, but they're afraid. People are also afraid to spend money to break through. And Mike hasn't said this to me, but this is one of my other pet peeves. I've got a laundry list. Look, if you're in a place and you're not making money, or you're stagnant, you're going to have to figure out how to get past that. And you're not going to get past that doing the things you've always done, obviously. Otherwise, you'd be past it. So spend the money, invest in your company, invest in your brainchild and your baby and in your employees and your idea and ideas. And that's what Mike offers with EOS. And I'm not touting him so you can cut him a big check. I'm just saying, I want you to cut him a big check, don't get me wrong. But I think it's so important that people, they want help, but then they don't want to invest in it. It's kind of like getting a massage. If you're getting a massage for your health and well-being, you're paying for that. So pay for something so that you can continue to build your business and get past where you're at. And that's really kind of what EOS helps you do.
Yeah, the most successful business leaders, just kind of set their egos aside and are willing to be open-minded. And that's part of being a great leadership team too, is being open-minded and open with each other, open and honest.
Open and transparency. That's my 2018 word. All right. So we're going to share all of Mike's contact information, how you can reach out to him. He's going to put those things that we put up backwards in JPEG format, and we'll share them when we share the video. Any words of wisdom for them, parting words for them?
Yeah, just get to the root cause of your issues. Purchase Gino's book, Traction, if you want to try to implement EOS on your own. I don't care how you implement it. I just think you should if you are not continuing to grow, because EOS will help you continually grow and have a more healthy, functional, cohesive, not only leadership team, but organization.
I love it. All right. Thanks for being on here, Mike. I appreciate you. Tracy, thanks for the introduction. See, we made it. We did it.
That's right.
It wasn't that painful, was it?
I enjoyed it.
It's always good because the audience has been very responsive, and Mike will go back through and answer your questions, and I will too. But reach out to him, and we'll put all of his contact information. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Love the show.
Thanks, thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you. Hello, gentlemen. She must be calling you a gentleman because she can't be calling
talking
me.
to you.
She is not talking to me. We love you guys. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Love you. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.